Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow Wealthy Grooming with Riverly, the Savvy Groomer. I'm sorry about the black current green screen. I am going to be working on getting a green screen background, and I tried a few different colors, and it wasn't coming out quite right. So I figured this will be better than trying to deal with all the different colors, because as you guys can see, I did try this kind of, let me show you really quick, this blue background, and I just don't like it. So I'm going to keep working with it. And until I do, we're going to just be doing this. So I will figure that out. But, I thought this was a little bit better than what we were dealing with before. So baby steps, right, guys? We're going to work on it. We're going to do some baby steps. And eventually it'll all come together. No worries. So I want to welcome you guys to this weekly episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. As you guys know, too many groomers own a job and not a business. As Savvy Groomers, we teach pet professionals simple changes in their business that can grow their business to be successful. At Savvy Groomer, we know that you want to be the savvy pet professional with a business you can be proud of. In order to do that, you need to know how to manage your business so that you can own a business and not just a job. The problem is that you hear lots of advice that doesn't actually make a difference, which makes you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and like a failure. You've been putting in the effort, but you don't have anything to show for it. We believe that no one should have their dream fail. I understand I went through a lot of business knowledge the hard way and from outside of the grooming industry. I use my expertise to work with clients internationally and have a proven track record. So let's go ahead and start talking this week about, oh goodness, as if it's gonna, boom. This is another one of our strategies for tragedies. And this is the comment, I have to take on debt to survive. So I know a lot of you guys feel this way, and I understand exactly why you feel this way. And we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of why you should take on debt, whether that is debt to pay your business bills or whether that is debt to just simply survive. And I want to talk about that mainly because you guys know how much that feels. Hi, Just Frugal Me and Turquoise Lure. How are you guys doing? Nice to meet you guys. You like the blue? If you like the blue, guys, let me know and I'll switch back to the blue. I'm trying to figure out what works best here. Wingtip, I think that's Erin. How are you, dear? How are you guys doing? Having my iced tea. How sad is this, guys? I got a Starbucks cup and I'm missing my Starbucks. They closed most of my Starbucks recently. It's so sad. So I'm going to leave the chat box open. Again, if you guys like the blue, I will switch back to the blue. If you like the black, I will keep to the black. Whatever you guys think looks better, let me know. I am kind of struggling because, again, it's all new. I will be working on backgrounds and the best way to organize that, but it's all about the content, right, guys? Hi, Aaron Martin. It's great. I'm so glad you're doing well. So let's talk a little bit about debt. What is debt? Debt is when you owe money. So basically, savings and debt are on the same stick, but different ends. So I think of like a pencil, and I always say there's a pointy end and the eraser. So savings is you save up for an item and then you pay for it. Debt is you take out the money and then you pay it off. The problem with debt always becomes that by the time you're paying off something, it's generally either time to get a new one or you don't know what's going to happen to your life and things change. A lot of us are finding that now where we had a payment for, let's say, a car or a credit card, tip, whatever it is that we wanted to do. And then what ended up happening is that obviously now when either income is zero or very, very low, unfortunately, you may not have the money to pay that monthly payment. Versus if you had saved up and paid that, you would have had no debt payments and you wouldn't have bought the item till you had it. So they're pretty much the same thing. They're just on two ends. And the problem with debt is when we're in a bad situation, that's when there's problems arises. That's when things, nobody would have ever expected this to happen. But when things unexpectedly happen, that's when things unfortunately start to unravel. So let's talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of taking out debt right now to both survive and to get our business to survive. And we all basically know and understand. And if you don't, I'd love to hear your comment that taking out debt when we're in an emergency is one of the most dangerous things to do. It's kind of like trying to take a second mortgage out on a house on fire, which seems silly, but you're already in the hole. You have no idea what you're going to do next. A lot of us do not know if we're going to have to sell our businesses, if we're going to have to go work for, unfortunately, for Petco or PetSmart when this is over with. We don't know what's going to happen because that is really the problem here. It could last 2 more weeks, or it could last a month. It could last till the end of June. There's lots of unknown, and it's really the unknown that creates a sense of urgency, but it also creates a sense of choosing an option that is going to cause the least permanent damage. So let's talk about the pros of taking on debt to survive or to keep our business going. And again, I keep drinking, don't mind me. So the pros, I put 2 pros. You can pay your bills today. I know, if you're anything like me, that the amount of money you have in your savings is finite. Now, I did have a few months worth of bills saved up. I don't know if you guys had a lot of money saved up or not. So if you can take a loan out, whether that's on a credit card or a personal loan, you can take that money out to pay your debtors so they stop calling you. And then you can figure it out later. And that is a positive if you are really stressed out with those debtors calling, bothering you. Maybe you can take out a loan and consolidate your debts and things like that. Maybe you're taking out a second mortgage or another option in order to pay them. That way you have one source of debt. And for some of you guys, that may actually reduce the interest or even payments per month. If you have a credit card that is a 17, 18, or 24%, and you're able to take out a personal loan, let's say at 4 or 5%, because right now debt is so cheap, then you might be able to save some money per month. But, there are always 2 sides of every coin. Another positive is that right now you won't lose your business investment. So whether it's a van or a shop or whatever it is that you have chosen to invest in as a business. And for those of you guys that are employees, please listen on, because I think these are so important for you to learn, too, for a long term, to find out what is going on. So for you business owners, you don't want to lose what you've put in. If you have built out a shop, the last thing you want to do is give up your grooming salon. You don't want to have to pull all your equipment out and sell that. I get it. I owned a grooming salon. I know how difficult it can be. With that, I know that you want to protect your business, and it's easier to protect your business now and figure it out later. And both of these pros are pretty straightforward. It's about protecting what you have for the long term. It's about saving and treading water. And I know there's no right answer. It's all about your personal situation, and I can't tell you what the right thing to do is if I don't know your personal situation, if I don't know your finances, what's going on. You have to figure that out. But taking out debt, those are really the 2 most important pros. You pay your bills today, but you'll figure it out tomorrow. You'll save your business, and you'll figure it out tomorrow. Now, as you guys know, I am the living embodiment of Murphy's Law. It's kind of annoying. I tried to explain this to somebody recently. I said, literally, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. It has my face. I just went to go switch over to a cheaper cell phone plan. And it was really funny because it should have taken 5 minutes. All I did was change a SIM card in my iPhone, and it should have immediately worked. What do you think happened? Everything possibly could go wrong. I had to go into a store during COVID-19 to go get it fixed. But it was funny because it was literally like, they said, this shouldn't be happening, this shouldn't be happening. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, everything went wrong. Thankfully, their store were open. The bad news was I had to wait outside because they only could allow 2 people in at a time. It all worked out. Ooh. Wingtip Day said, I finally got some sushi. I would kill for some sushi right now. I miss restaurants. I miss eating out a lot. I've been ordering food, but it's not the same. Like, I love seafood, and seafood really needs to be brought to you. Like, as far as, like, brought to a table quickly. Like, I can't order, like, mussel zuppa or a tuna steak or a swordfish steak. And my favorite sushi place is actually over the line into Massachusetts, and they're getting really weird about us crossing it. So, Turquoise Lore says, I have photos of my lottery ticket, and all the numbers being 1 or 2 are of the drawn numbers. Ah, you're like just that close. That really stinks. Do you hate that? So let me give you 2 cons really quickly on taking out debt. And then I want you to have questions for you to dig deeper into whether or not you should. And again, I can't tell you whether or not you should. You have to. If I'm your business coach, that's different. If I'm your business coach, that's a totally different opportunity because I will have your numbers. I will see what's going on with you specifically, and that will allow me to help you make decisions. Here's 2 cons. Could you take on all that debt and still lose the business? That is my biggest fear for you guys. They're talking about a second wave in September. If we are closed for September, October, November, December, or September, October, November, and we're open for December, and then they close us again, can you make it? Or we have to take debt out for that time too. My question for you is, if you take on debt, are you actually going to be able to pay it back? The next one, and that's what I mean, like, can you afford to pay the debt payments later? So there are a lot of programs right now where that money will be paid. It's a grant. A grant is different than debt. Debt is money you will owe. A loan is money you will own. If you can get a grant, take the money. If somebody will give you the money and not expect anything back, take it. If it is a loan, these are the questions we have to ask. So what are the terms of the loan? Is it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? How much amount is it? Is it $100 a month? Is it $200 a month? Is it $1,000 a month? How much would this payment come back? What is the interest rate? Is it at 4 or 5%? Is it at 10%? Is it 24%? How much money is this interest rate going to be? Because I want to make sure you're going to be able to pay back that debt. And it's more important because if your business has to close anyway, which I know is a really dark situation to consider, and I'm really sorry, but we have to really talk about this. If for some reason, God forbid, knock on wood, for those of you guys that are married with children, if your spouse dies and you took on debt to save your business, are you going to have to close anyway? God forbid. I know it's terrible to think about. Or God forbid, a family member passes, or a family member becomes so sick from this that they need you to take care of them. Are you going to be able to keep the business afloat? Do not take out $20,000 or $40,000 to save a business you're going to have to lose anyway. That is worse than just taking the equipment out, selling the equipment, or holding onto the equipment for 6 months to a year and starting over. There are so many businesses right now that are losing, are closing, they're just becoming empty. And those people, if you ever needed a time for a reset button, now is the easiest time to destroy your credit, which I know sounds awful. But if there was ever a time to get out of a lease, if there was ever a time to turn your car, if there was ever a time to do any of these awful, embarrassing things, now is the time. Because there's so many people having such a hard time that it's going to affect your credit the least possible. Which brings me to my next point. Are you trying to save a business that isn't actually profitable? I can't tell you how many people I talk to that tell me they're profitable, and then when we actually do the numbers, they're making minimum wage. Do you know your numbers? Do you have a P&L statement, which is a profit and loss statement? And what this means is if you take out all of your bills, including your payroll, whatever you pay you and your employees, are you making a profit? And how much is your net profit actually? Does that constitute the loan you're going to take out? Are you earning more as a business owner than you would as a groomer? And I find a lot of times, you guys, that you're not. If you were to work, which is really crazy to me, a lot of you people, if you worked at Petco or PetSmart, you would make more money at Petco or PetSmart than you would in your own business, especially because you can't groom full time and work your business full time. I mean, that's not true. There are those marathon rainbow groomers who can groom 7 to 10 dogs a day and then turn around and do an extra 2 to 3 hours worth of paperwork. They're just amazing. They're just machines. I'm a human being. I am not a machine. I groom basically part-time hours because the other time that I am doing things is my bookkeeping. And I do have an accountant and I do technically have a bookkeeper, but I have to do certain things you have to put in my appointments. I have to make sure things are correct. It takes time. Calling new potential clients, sifting through people. And I have a lot of things personally automated, but a lot of times you guys are not that automated. And on the flip side, a lot of you guys are working very long hours for not great pay. You could literally go work for somebody else and make more money. And that is a question if you're going to take out debt. Because if your numbers are basically what you would be paid to work for somebody else, then I need you to ask yourself, would you pay someone $20,000 or $40,000 to go work for them? No, that's crazy. So why would you take out a loan of $20,000 or $40,000 to save your business if it is the same or less than what you would make working for somebody? It's a hard pill to swallow. And if you guys aren't sure if you're profitable or not, please go ahead to my calendar and let's have a quick walkthrough and see. Again, we're going to be doing rough, crazy numbers, but we are able to actually talk about them and figure out that number. And a lot of you guys aren't. And that's the scary part. I want to make sure that you have a way to pay back this debt. Again, my biggest fear is, let's say you take out this debt and your business has to close anyway. I can't think of anything much worse than having your dream fail and then having to keep paying debt on that failed dream. Let's say it's $500 a week for the next 3 years. I'm sorry, not a week. $500 a month, I should say, for the next 3 years. How would that feel if you closed in 6 months and you have to keep paying that bill for 2.5 years? Because the loan doesn't go away if the business closes. It doesn't. And I think that is the most painful thing. So let's talk about a little bit of, let's really quick. I also want to know, are you actually earning money as a business owner or only when you're grooming? So a lot of you guys don't understand the concept of making money as an owner. You should have an owner's draw. And that is nothing to do with you earning money in your grooming salon. You should be able to make money just for simply investing money into your salon. Yes, you should be paid as a groomer when you're grooming, but you should be making money just for simply owning the salon. And do you earn a owner's draw just for the sake of owning the business? And if you had to restart your business, like I said, now is the best time. If you had to pull everything out and restart, there's never been a better time to do so. And I really want you to evaluate your numbers to figure that out. And so here are some questions to ask. And remember, these are all strategies for tragedy. For those of you guys that are sitting pretty and you have plenty of money, or your husband's still working, or someone's still working, they have all this money set aside, I'm not talking to you. What I'm talking to is the people that are struggling and they're treading water and they're considering taking out a loan of realistically between $20,000 and $40,000. If you guys think a $5,000 will lift you through this time, I would be very surprised. I can't imagine taking out less than $20,000 in the situation, because you're probably going to have to pay whatever your regular rent is. You're going to need money to float all of that. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are taking money out float your car payment or float your house payment, whether it's rent or mortgage. And I know people are telling you, oh, you don't have to pay your rent or you don't have to pay your mortgage. You will have 30 days, depending upon what state you're in and depending upon wherever you are. So if you're not paying your rent or your mortgage right now, let's say you don't pay for 3 months. Are you going to have 4 months when it comes to the end? Maybe, maybe not. And I think it's really interesting how people are like, oh, we're going to be swamped when we get back. But are you? I mean, you can only groom so many dogs a day. This is not a product-based business. It's a service-based business. So with the service-based business, you can only groom a certain number of animals. Even if you are that magic groomer who can groom like 10 to 12 dogs by themselves. I'm not one of those people. I am not a power groomer. Never have, never will. So with that said, what I will say to you is, even if you're a power groomer, you're not going to groom 2 to 3 months worth of dogs in a month. You're not going to. There's going to be this flood of people coming in, and you're going to have to figure out what to do. So here are some questions I want you to ask. Do you have a plan out here you're going to pay your monthly bills and your new debt? If you take this loan out, do you have a plan how you're going to pay yourself and do all of these things? Do you honestly? You know, if you get a low interest loan, it's still a loan. How much does your business earn gross each month before COVID? How much did you earn each month before COVID? Oh, I mean, getting old and sleepy. And then, will your past income cover more than COVID? And for a lot of you guys that have had employees, you've been paying them. Nobody likes to hear this, but service-based businesses need to keep all payroll under 30%. And most of you guys are paying your employees 50%. And the problem with paying them 50% is, guess what? You're paying them 50%. You're giving them too much in profit in order to make your own way. And I know you guys don't like to hear that, because guess what? That means that you know, it's interesting. People always say like, oh, 50%, that's the least I would take. But that's not a number. Is that $50,000 a year? Is that $20,000 a year? You know, 50% of a dog making $35 versus 50% of a dog making $65, or 50% of a cat at $100, $125. Those are very different numbers. So it's not a pay rate. 50% is not a pay rate. It's a made-up number that groomers have decided they earn. However, as a business owner, any business book you read based on service-based businesses will tell you to keep them under 30%. It's really 33%, but at least 30%. Make your math a little bit easier. So, another question I have for you is, will there be a second wave, and will this happen again? We don't know. We don't know. We have no idea if when we finish this up, and we go back to work, probably June, maybe July, depending upon where you are. I'm in New England. We're being hit pretty hard. I don't see us back to work before June. And that's scary. I'm not sick, I swear. You know, if we're not back to work by June, and then if there's a second wave in September, or a second wave in January, and you have to be closed for another few months, did the numbers in your business make sense to keep it open and take on debt? Keeping a business open and treading water is very different than taking out a loan and treading water. And you need to know that for yourself. You know, are you prepared to take on even more debt if that were the case? What if you take on, let's say, $10,000 to $20,000 right now for debt? Are you prepared? Let's say you go to work in June. You work June, July, August, September. 4 months. Are you then prepared to take on another $10,000 or $20,000 to stay open? Because you still have to pay rent even if you're not open. And the government it's not magic. It can't print money. If it does print money, that's a problem, because then money's not going to be worth what it's worth. How much money would you accept taking on. It's kind of like if your ship is sinking, when are you going to agree to abandon the boat? And that's really scary. I don't want anyone to think about this. Again, those of you guys in great financial standpoints, I'm not talking to you. What I'm talking to is the person that is like, do I destroy myself financially for the next 10 years to save a business that is basically a job that I own? Those are the people I'm talking to right now. And if you're not that person, that's great. Then share, because I know there's a lot of groomers that, we see on the outside that you're successful, but when we look at your numbers, we know that your numbers aren't as good as you want them to be, or that they should be, and that you're not actually making the kind of money that really means you're a business owner. You're basically owning a job, and that's tough. Listen, I did that before. I know it's like, when I first opened my shop, I basically owned my job. I didn't make enough money to survive, never mind live comfortably or even thrive. It sucked. It really sucked. But it took a long time to understand why that was. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's hard. And I understand. I really do understand. I know how hard it is to put in all of your love, your effort, your time, your hard work, blood and sweat and bone just to break even. Or to make enough money to pay your bills, but you have to work 80 hours to pay the shop bills and your bills. I get it. So if we have to be closed another couple of months, what is the number that you have in mind that you're willing to take out debt to keep your business afloat? And you should have a number. If you're willing to take out 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, what if you took out $100,000? Would you have taken out $100,000 to float yourself to the end of this? Knowing how much it's going to be and projecting that based upon how much profit and loss and your bills is important. Shelly's saying better business planning. I think it's really important to have better business planning. But these are the things that we don't know. No one expects an epidemic. I can't think of any other time in history that the government has forced us to shut. Not just the grooming industry, many industries. Who tells us we have to close? You don't have those of us that have the option right now to stay open and close, that's one thing. But like restaurants right now, they have no option but to close. What are they going to do? And they're going to be at the front of the line because we're in a gray area. I applied for the grant, and I had a customer today call me and say, I applied for PPP. She works for a bank because it could be forgiven. I'm trying to avoid new debt at all costs. Again, it's kind of like you've got to be careful. What are you willing to pay back? Now, things could be forgiven. And I think that's where we're like, ooh, I want free money. We all want free money. I mean, that'd be great. If the government's going to give us $2,400 if you're a married couple, or $1,200 if you're a single couple, that I'm a single person, that's great. But how much are you, okay, let's say if you do take out that loan and it's not forgiven, do you have the money to pay it back? And that's the tough part. And I want you to think about, okay, grooming salon, like every single business has its hands in the cookie jar. Why would the grooming industry be the one being paid back? Restaurants and bars have been told they have to close except for takeout. They're going to be paid. Banks are going to have to be paid. 2008 wildfires. So, Shelly, we did not have wildfires in the Northeast. I think that's the thing, is that if you are in an area where you've had something like this happen, that's, you're a little bit maybe more financially prepared. I mean, even in New England, if it's a blizzard, we just still, I won't drive with the van, but a lot of people stay open. When I had my shop, we were open. We just shoveled ourselves out and we were open. And so if you are in a place that has had these kinds of tragedies happen, maybe you're more financially prepared than those of us who just kind of roll with the punches. But for the most part, the government doesn't come down and shut your business. And so this is something completely outside the norm. especially when we don't have an answer when it's going to be done. I'm sure Australia right now is really, I know California had wildfires, but I think of like the wildfires that Australia had, and then they also have had COVID. I can't even imagine how financially they're doing. I'm not very religious. Like, I believe in things, but I don't think this is the end of days personally. I think this is just, we are more aware than ever of everything going on around the world. And I think that we're really blessed to know things are going around the world because we have an opportunity to talk to each other and figure out the best thing to do. And again, I'm talking to everybody this is the worst case scenario. I know it's really dark. I know. I'm really sorry. It's really dark. I don't want it to be, but I want to talk about the things that other people are scared to talk about. I think you guys need to hear these options. Because then if you decide, I don't care, I'm going to push on, that's better to me. To me, it's always better to know the worst case scenario and take on that risk and be aware than hope everything works out fine. Num num num. The other question I have for you again is, do you want to be a business owner or are you passionate about grooming? I know this is a weird question. Again, everybody in the grooming industry suggests you be the one owner, operator business. You generally don't make any money that way. It's basically a job. Unless if you are charging a large amount of money per dog or per cat, you're generally not going to make enough money as one person operator. So I charge an average of now $100 to $200 per cat. So by charging that amount of money, $100 to $200 per cat, I have enough meat on the bone to pay myself and be comfortable. Because I can pay myself 30% of that. And I'm still making 30 to, oh God, my math was off. I think it's $45 an hour to stay under 30%. And be sure to remember that I'm not working 40 hours physically grooming. I'm working realistically 25 to 35 hours per week grooming. And so I am paying myself accordingly. But that's not a ton of money long term. And so you have to really ask yourself, do you want a job or a business? And I know I keep harping on this. I'm sorry if I am. But are you earning enough money that this makes sense to take on more debt? Because if it's just a job, let it go. Save your equipment or do whatever you're going to do. Sell it, whatever. And then get enough money, your financial situation under control, whatever it is, whether your own personal debt or whatever it is, to the point where you can run a business and be steady. Does the money make you money for being open or when you're only physically grooming? I personally, with my business, because I'm a one-owner operator, at this point, I make money when I'm grooming. But the money I make because I am very niche is way more than I would make elsewhere. So I could definitely move to a place that has a cat-exclusive business. They'd probably pay me between $20 and $25 an hour. Which on some level wouldn't be much. You figure between all the time I spend doing marketing. Oh God, at this point I'm pretty full. That's not true. I shouldn't say that. At this point, being full, I make more money than I would working for somebody else. But if after this one thing I am personally considering is, what am I going to do when all this is over? Am I going to sell my van and make Savvy Groomer my full-time position? Because I promise you, a lot of my clients are elderly, and the dark truth is a lot of them could pass away. And, God forbid, a lot of people are losing their jobs. I think it's 7 to 10 million? Let me Google that really quick. How many Americans have lost their jobs since March? Let's look up unemployment since March 2020. Sorry, guys, I'm just Googling. Don't mind me. America. don't want to pretend like I know. Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. I want a number on all these people. So 6.6 applied in the last week as of April 2nd. Wow. So we're looking at, wow. In March, more than 10 million Americans lost their job. Just in March. We're actually way further than I thought. I thought we had lost 10,000 jobs. Looks like America has lost 17 million jobs. Sorry. 17. Wow. I'm just completely shocked. I guess I shouldn't be, but so there you have it. So there are going to be a lot of job openings, and I don't think you should sell your business unless if you have to, but I do want you to open your eyes and think to yourself, am I in a position to continue this business? Am I in a place where keeping it open makes sense? And you may be like, yes, this business is everything I've ever wanted, and it's time to keep it open. And for those of you people, I am very excited for you, and I cannot wait to help you fight for what you need and do everything in your power to be ready for that. That's important to me. I want people to find their dreams and chase their dreams. But I also want the people to know that are going to lose everything, because there are a lot of people going to lose everything. That they didn't do anything wrong. And I know they're going to know that innately, but it's still hard. It's hard to know that you've done everything physically possible and done everything right, and you still fail. It really sucks, but you're okay. We'll be here for you. Right, guys? I know we have a great community here with the Savvy Groomer and Grow Wealthy Grooming and all of those things. You'll be okay. I promise you'll be okay. Everyone's going to be okay. You know, everything in the world will come together. I actually have this great, I wish I could pull it down. I have this great saying that I have up on, I'm a dork. I have a vision board and all of that. It really helps me. I actually got new pictures. You guys want to see how much of a dork I am? For my vision board. Because it was very important to me. So I have like my future kitchen. Let me see if I can even see that on my camera. So I have my future kitchen. I want a black Arabian horse, and I want to do eventing again. So I have that picture. I want a Mercedes SUV because I am incredibly materialistic. There's my black Arabian horse again. Is that pretty? I'm like, oh, I want that horse. I want a little personal moment here. There is this beautiful place in Newport, Rhode Island that I want to have a party or a wedding at. It's right on, you can see the Newport Bridge, and it's right on the water, and there's this beautiful lighthouse, so I want that. And then I have this great picture that says, I'm financially abundant and money comes to me naturally. So I have my little dorky vision board, and I have a little saying on there right now. It says, it is fun to know that things are always working out for me, and as I watch for the evidence of that, I see more evidence of that every day. So I butchered that. Let me try that again. It is fun to know things are always working out for me, and as I watch for the evidence of that, I see more evidence of that every day. And so every day, things get better. They really do. We're very blessed. You know, you get time to really work on your business plan and decide what it is that you want, what you want in your heart. And what I'm offering you is the opportunity to say, I own a job and not a business. And either I want to change that, or I want to, I want to let go of that. I always tell people the example of my grooming salon. I loved my grooming salon, but it was not the right time in my life. I wanted the daycare grooming boarding. But I had a young son, and I wanted to get married, and I wanted to have more children. And it's not the right time for me right now to own a grooming salon. It is the right time for me to own a mobile business where I can drop my son off at school and pick him up from school. And, it may be time for me to sell my van and my business and focus on Savvy Groomer. And again, I'm very granola crunchy. Maybe you guys aren't. I think that the universe will tell me what is happening. I will know. Whether it's God or the universe or whatever it is, I'll figure it out. But it's important to me to focus on what I can control. And right now, there's not much we can control. We can only control our mind and what is in our heart. Shelly says, lovely goals and vision. I really like looking at those things. And, I've owned horses before. And I've ridden before. And I stopped. And a lot of reason I stopped is because I've been busy with everything else and everyone else and every imaginable thing. And, because we've had a lot of time to watch TV and things, I will say, I watched The Black Stallion again. If those of you guys are not one of those young ladies that, watched The Black Stallion when they were young girls, that was, my hero. It was just weird. The horse was my hero. I used to literally, I would play t-ball. I'm not even kidding. I used to play t-ball. And I would run the bases. And when I would get done, I'd be like, did I run fast? And my mom would be like, just like the Black Stallion. I'd be like, yes! Oh! Which is the weirdest thing as an adult. I'm remembering it who aspires to be a horse growing up, right? But I always said my dream horse would be a black Arabian horse. And I've owned Arabs, and they're insane. But I love that fire and that spark and that unextinguishable spirit. Because obviously I want to die on horseback. Why not? But it is. It's all these little things I have that I want. And it takes time. And it takes refining goals. It takes looking at what you have and saying, okay, is this really what I want? And if it is really what you want, okay, how do I then make this work for me in a way that is actually achieving the bigger picture? I know right now, if I had achieved the daycare, boarding, grooming, veterinarian, I'd be very unhappy where I am right now. Having the freedom and the flexibility to pursue things like the Savvy Groomer is really easy while I'm mobile. It really is. And I am very grateful that if I choose to move on and make Savvy Groomer my full-time position, I would just sell my van, which is really sad. And I'm not quite sure I'm ready to do that. But if I want to make this my full-time position, I have the opportunity. I'm in a place now where I can do that. I'm not tied to something as much as I was when I had my shop. And it was hard. It was really hard to make those decisions. And I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you, whether you want to Facebook message me, which, please, if you're going to Facebook message me, be patient. I do what I can do. We can always set up what I call virtual coffees, which are generally about 30 minutes. We talk about what it is that you need. You might need one-on-one business coaching, and that is a deep dive into what we're going to do. And that's a lot of effort, but that's really great. I'm here for you guys, whether you can ready to invest in your business or if you're ready to move on from your business, and look at your long picture of what it is that you want to do. So I don't want to keep going further. I do think that if you're going to take debt out, to whether that is to take a credit card out to pay your day-to-day bills, or whether that is to take debt out to own your business longer, whatever you do, you're going to do it the best you can. We don't know what's going to happen. We could be all back to work next week, or we might be out of work on and off for the next year. We don't know. All you can do is the best you can do. What I do want you to do is do it with open eyes. Is do that and make the plan based upon the best knowledge that you have. Know how much your business is earning. It is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having to close your business and reopen it stronger next time. There's actually a great video challenge going on with Danelle German right now. If you guys just look up, I think it's called Come Back Stronger. If you look up Danelle German, I'm sure she's posting links to it. And that's great. Depending on how long you watch the replay. And she has great ideas on how to make everything prepared for when you go back to work. And I know everyone's going to go back to work. It's just a matter of what you're going to do when you go back to work. And I know it's like really negative, and sometimes I wish I could be this amazing, happy-go-lucky person in your life where I'm like, yay, we're all going to be fine and everything will be great and la 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 la. Well, guess what? That's not real life. Real life is hard, and it's a lot of work, and grooming is hard, and owning a business is hard. What the fuck, right? Why can't we have anything that's good? No, you're fine. But with that said, Shelly says, I groom to provide for my 3 sons' horses. Yes. I have a real horse. Like, between dogs and horses. I love cats now too, but my first word was dog, and I love horses, and it is so expensive to have a horse up here. It is like $1,200 a month for board up here, which is insane. But I will have one day. Just not right now because I'm spreading myself too thin. But guys, I don't want to keep you. I want to thank you so much for being here, so much for listening, and I hope that you've taken what I've said to heart. I know it's not always the fun topics right now, but I want to talk about the deep, dark parts of what's going on, because then you can make decisions that are right for you. Don't let anyone guilt you into doing what's wrong for you. And if you're ready to get your business to the next level, ready? Shameless pitch. See, this is the problem though. Shameless pitch. Consider signing up for Grow with the Grooming membership. It is still only $10 a month right now. It'll be $10 a month until we get through COVID-19. Mainly because I feel really bad for everyone. And this will help you guys get on the right path to doing whatever it is that you want to do with your business. Every month we go through one topic where we discuss something in your business that needs to be worked on or rectified. This coming month in April, the subject will be creating onboarding processes with your customers. So consider signing up for that now. You just go to savvygroomer.com, grow-wealthy-grooming. The other thing that I would consider you to do while you are... Sorry guys, I'm always working. I'm like, let me try on... Oh, I gotta do this. Don't mind me. I'm doing the best I can. Some days I'm not the, That's fine. We'll do this. Loop. You can also consider joining my Personal Finance on a Leash, which is our 12 weeks class on getting your personal finances under control. There is a coupon code right now for 50% off that will only last through COVID-19. Right now, I want to be able to help people the best that I can, and Personal Finance on a Leash really is the best way to get yourself in a position financially that you will be abundant or be able to make better decisions with your money. Money is all about freedom and choosing how you're going to live your life. And that, to me, is the most important thing that we possibly can do. Whoop. Bloop. Sorry. As I'm always playing with the computer, I'm like, how do I get myself over there? Well, if that is the only questions you guys have, I hope as always this was helpful. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. If you have any comments, questions, input, always go ahead and put it in the comments below. I would love any more topics that you guys need me to cover. I try to cover everything that I think is relevant at the time, and I want to make sure that I talk about things that other people are kind of scared of saying, because I know a lot of you guys are scared and unsure and uncomfortable, and I want you to do what's best for you. I want you to do what is best for you. Because you are the one who's going to have to live with these decisions, good or bad. And I think that you can do whatever you put yourself together with. If you put your mind to saving your business and it'll be better than ever when you get rock and rolling, you will. But if you know in your heart it's time to move on and your heart's not in your business anymore, now is the best time, if you have to move on from your business. And only you know that. Only you know that. And if you, like I said, are ready to rock and roll, then we're here for you. You know, Grow Wealthy Grooming. It's $10 a month. Come join us. Come join us. Come get your, monthly to-do list and just rock and roll with one thing. Every month you have a new project. It's nice and easy. I look forward to seeing everybody there. All right, guys. So, as usual, it's always lovely to see you. I hope you had a good Easter. My son turned 9. Can you believe that? I'm old. I know. I'm like, why do I want more kids? My kid is like, I'm half done. Hey, I'm half done. Like, my kid will be, shit, do I really want to start over again? Jesus. Go back to diapers and all that when my kid is basically done. I will be 40 when my son is hopefully the hell out of my house, because I'm not one of those nice parents that let my kid live there forever. I am definitely the kind of parent like military, get a job, go to school. One of the three. I know, I'm so bad. I'm sorry. I love my son. I'll probably pay for his college, but he better get all A's, because if I'm investing this kind of money in him, better do something with his life, right? All right, guys. On that note, I want to wish you a happy grooming, and I gotta find the outro. See you guys next week. Happy grooming. And we're gonna try that again, because I done goofed. I'm going to try that all over again, because somehow I goofed on the transition. Goofed on the transition, na 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 na. Goofed on the transition, na 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 na. Definitely not a perfect person, doing my best, na 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 na.